Yo, it's Batman Live 2002, and today I have an interesting topic for you. Today, guys, I have a guest on my podcast. You guys already know him. He's Anime Nerd. What's up, man?
Yeah, what's up? I mean, I wouldn't say guess. I'm pretty much
Oh,
on here every now and then. It's family. Y'all already know.
okay. So not a guest, just like a family member who shows up every once in a while.
Always on time for the
When I'm
cookout.
cooking or something. So what's
Yeah,
cooking?
yeah. Pretty much what it is cooking, my man.
But yeah, man. So today I got you on the podcast because I want to talk about anime controversies, man, and outrage culture.
Oh yes,
You already know.
it's about to
You,
get nice.
you already know. Outrage culture, where people try to cancel you for every little thing that you say. You can't say a dang thing. You know today they try
Oh
to cancel
man,
Domino's Pizza. They tried to cancel today. I think it was either
T-
today or yesterday. They tried
today?
to cancel Domino's Pizza because they like to tweet. I think it was Donald Trump's press secretary. I think 2012, Domino's said, "Hey, thanks whoever the press secretary is." And this is in 2012, before she was the press secretary for Donald Trump. Okay, this was before Donald Trump was even the president, and it's like, and she's like, "Hey, I love Domino's," or some bull crap like that, and Domino's like, "Hey, thanks," and now people are trying to cancel them
Oh my gosh.
8 years ago for saying, "Hey, thanks" to a lady who wasn't even in office yet.
So wait, people are really mad. Oh, look, I am sick and tired of this soft generation. I don't care. They're gonna get offended by me. They're
Yeah,
gonna try to
well, we
cancel
gonna get
me.
canceled too, man.
Yeah, and look, at this point, it ain't even matter. Look,
Yeah,
people need to stop being soft. This is sad. Like, it's something that happened years ago. Times are different. Now, granted, I can understand if it happened recently. Okay, I guess. I mean, I'm not really okay with the whole cancel nation anyway. They're acting like people ain't human. So, because somebody could easily dig up your past, and everybody have a past. Yeah, and you know, this is not even what we're supposed to be talking about, but you already got me going
well,
off
I
on
mean,
this.
it's kind of the same. It's the same topic technically because it's outrage culture, and guess what? I bet you heard about this. Maybe not.
Uh-huh.
Same group of people tried to recently, like very recently, cancel Robert Downey Jr. for doing Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, I saw that. I thought
Mm-hmm.
it, and
Yep.
and it's sad because the people that are canceling it ain't even the people who are the race that is particularly offended. At least from what I
Exactly,
saw,
man.
I'm seeing mostly of the less pigment. I don't know how to say it better. Less of pigment people complain about it. While I talked to my friends, and we were like, if you watched the movie, he was playing an actor who was playing an actor who thought he was black.
Exactly. They were making
That
fun of it, of the
yeah,
ridiculousness of it. Look,
and
let me tell you, man, I'll say it. Well, most of the people who are doing this are teenage white kids
yeah,
who
yeah.
want to seem woke and try to get them woke points, and it just ain't flying.
There's a fact when you're going too woke. It's like, man, like stop. Like if the other people or the other race that's not really getting mad is not getting mad about it, then why are you acting like this? Like, calm
Exactly.
down. It's like it has nothing to do with you. Like,
Yeah.
I like Robert Downey Jr. I thought he did a great job in that movie. It was cool. It was funny. That movie was funny. There was nothing wrong. Nobody took offense to it, and nothing like that.
Yeah, and then another thing is when you look at a lot of these tweets. I was just looking into it because I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated by these people. Like I study them like a scientist
Yeah, you
studying
got to
like
study
a
them.
lab rat or something. And I was looking at these tweets, and it's like I don't need to see this movie to know this is wrong. I was like, get the fruit out of here. You tell me you didn't see this movie. And what's funny is most of the people who are outraged, they're like, wait, you mean to tell me that Robert Downey Jr. did blackface? Which tells you that they didn't do any research. They didn't
Yeah.
watch it. They didn't do jack squat. They just saw something and they just getting pissed. They just getting angry for no freaking reason.
And you know what's crazy? A majority of them who are getting pissed like that is like they don't understand the context of anything. Like they'll
Yeah,
take a good classic show or like you know how PlayStation just revealed Miles Morales. There's people being outraged already,
Get the
and
fruit
then
out of here.
because one they're mad about Spider-Man helping out the police.
Oh no.
They're like,
It's not like
oh my
Spider-Man's
god,
a superhero and that's all he's been doing for the past 30, 40 years that he's ever existed.
tuition. Yes, I know we got a problem with the police now, but let's separate reality from fiction.
Exactly. Oh
Spider-Man
god.
can't be nobody judge. He can't send them to court or anything. He's not rich. He's a normal, everyday human. Just so happen to have superpowers.
Mhm.
And of course, he had to help the police catch crime. I mean, shoot, Spider-Man beating up the enemies, like, and then wrapping them up and then waiting for the police to do it. If anything, you should be happy that Spider-Man is the one handling it. How about that?
Yeah, and so people are mad that it's Miles Morales, who is half black, half
Well,
Mexican.
pretty much. It's not that they're mad about his skin color. It's that technically he's gonna be working with the police. But his
Oh
dad was a
no.
police officer. If you play the game, you know
Yes.
his dad was a police officer. And people who don't know anything about the background and history of it is upset. And then they're trying to make this game political. And everybody
Mhm.
know if you try to make a game political, it's not gonna work. You're gonna have people not wanting to play because the people who wants video game political don't even play the game. Like
Exactly.
Last of Us
Exactly.
2. I know there's a lot of outrage on that one because they're trying to push an agenda on that one. And what sales will tell soon on how that one will go. But
Exactly.
anytime a video game have it, my bad. Go ahead.
Oh, no, no, no. Continue, continue.
No,
Yeah,
I was
I
saying
just agree.
anytime.
Yeah.
I was just saying like anytime a video game has like a agenda based driven, it tends not to do good, and then it tends to have a whole lot of like fake reviews. All of a sudden, oh, this is 10 out of 10 game of the year, but yet the people who actually played it actually hates it.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Like if you play, I mean, you're a gamer, man. You already know.
Yeah.
People will review bomb a game
Yep.
based off of the decisions. Oh man, the CEO was just accused of sexual harassment. Now, or the whoever directed the game or whatever. So I'm gonna give this game a 1 out of 10. Get the fruit out of here. What's the game got to do with it? It's like you gotta rate the game based off the merit of the game. If you watch the movie Into the Spider Verse with Miles Morales, you would know all
Great
about his
movie.
background.
Yeah.
You would know that his dad was a cop, his uncle was a villain, and all that stuff. And
Yeah. I don't
I
think his
don't,
dad died in that movie though.
I don't know, man. Oh,
It's the video game and the movie. This is both different things. Yeah, stuff. I think his uncle died in that one.
yeah,
Anyway, he still dealt with death. Okay, at
yeah.
the end of the day, he still dealt with death, and people gonna be mad because of what's going on right now. I understand you could be mad at the reality aspect of it, but for the video game aspect, if that's how the character origin story is,
You,
like,
yeah,
why do
you
we
gonna
need to be
change
mad?
it? You're gonna change it to fit the narrative of whatever makes you feel comfortable at the moment.
Yeah, it just don't sound right for Spider-Man not to be doing what he do. I mean, like, granted, okay, so we take away the police aspect of it. What is Spider-Man gonna do, and like, he's just gonna stop the superheroes? Yes, but like, part of the playing Spider-Man game is the funny thing is you get to fight this so-called police enforcers and stuff like that, the corrupt ones. So
Yeah.
it's like, what's at the end of the day? I mean, the video game does a good aspect of it, and being outraged for stuff like that and you have no idea what's going on is kind of stupid.
Well, so there's one thing to keep in mind. Out of all the outrage and all that kind of stuff, outrage culture, and this would be a good transition into the anime topic on this outrage stuff in the anime community, is that there are only a few people who are doing it. Like, let's say that all of the people who are trying to cancel, let's say Domino's, right?
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet there's maybe 100 people, maybe tops, out of the millions of people who use Twitter who are trying to actually cancel Domino's. Just like there's probably only a couple hundred people out of the millions of people who are mad that it's Miles Morales or any type of thing. So it's just that the minority seems to just have the biggest bark. so it seems like it's they have a bigger presence than they actually have. But like the problem is I what I do is I'm a freelance writer. I write for news websites and for all kinds of clients and
Yeah,
businesses. And one thing I've learned writing for news websites is that they want to sensationalize headlines. Everything, if it doesn't uh, evoke emotion in terms of fear, anger, joy, or whatever, then
yeah,
you can't write it. That's all because it's like, hey Matt, like they'll send it back to me. It's like, yo, hey man, like this headline, it isn't, it doesn't really have that zing to it. We really need to make it more sensational, even though it blows it completely out of proportion. So that's why you see articles written, you see news stories because they want us to freak out and get angry and all that kind of stuff. There's really only a few people doing this crap. Most people are reasonable, and most people
hmm
they're logical and they understand that getting angry over this stuff is some bull crap and it's stupid. And so it is the very small minority that are driving this
yeah.
type
That's
of
driving this.
behavior. But yeah, man. So having that being said, I wanted to talk about some of this outrage over some of these anime controversies as of late. And as of late, I mean like in the past couple of years, like Rising of the Shield Hero, Darling in the Franks, and even old school controversy like Neon Genesis Evangelion, the very last episode. People sending death threats, people getting angry, people don't want to watch the show anymore, people are arguing, and they just man, what are your thoughts on that, man?
So I never agree on sending death threats to an author. Now, I understand being passionate about being into a certain particular manga and anime and everything. You got fans. That's good that you're a fan. But when you're threatening somebody literally life just because you don't like something, it starts to make me think like what are you doing with your life pretty much? Because
Exactly.
I don't understand why you feel the need that it's okay to go threaten this man who's working just as hard, trying to get day in, day out. This is his story. This is not your story. You didn't create it.
And this is Darling in the Franks you talk about, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And this is his story. And literally the outrage that they have was just for something that been around anime for years. It's years. It's always a competition between a female for a main guy or two guys for the female, vice versa. It always been that for years.
So for the sake of the listeners, you want to break down the controversy real quick, just like a little
Well,
summary?
so pretty much, and Darling and the Frank, Hero and Zero Two were the main idea of it all. But as always, there's another female that like him named Ichigo, and I believe it's been a while since I've seen it, but I believe it's because she decided to confess her love and give him a kiss. Everybody started tripping out, pretty
Hmm.
much. And
And so the main thing is he didn't pick the best girl. He didn't pick the main, obvious choice. But you know what? I can think of another anime that did that. It's called Shuffle, where
I remember I was just about to say that
yeah,
he literally didn't choose any of the girls that were after him. He chose
yeah,
the other one, and like imagine if that one would have came out now.
yeah. So it's the same example when you look back at Tropic Thunder, how people had to dig all the way back in 2000, what, 12 or something for
Yeah,
Tropic Thunder.
people
It's
just trying.
people weren't offended back then, but they offended now, so they gotta go all the way back. How many years? 8 years, 10 years?
Yeah.
Just get pissed at somebody. So it's not that the formula has changed. This stuff has been happening.
Well, it's,
There's hundreds of anime where the same type of controversy, or not even it's not even controversial, but the same type of subversion of expectation where it's like, oh, this is the main girl, but he chose somebody else. It's just that the audience has changed. That's
yeah.
all it is, man.
Yeah, it truly is. Like, I'm glad you remember Shuffle because Shuffle was definitely like, if you would never seen it, your very first idea is, oh, he's going to choose one of them.
Yeah.
And next
Yeah,
thing
it
you
it
know,
was a
he
it was a demon
chose
girl
somebody.
and a god, and
Yeah,
he had
the
a choice.
angel, and
Yeah.
then the little childhood friend who
Mm.
was like a terror to him.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and
then he had another, like a mutual friend, not in it all, was helping him out. And then old boy just ended up choosing her.
yeah, I was like, wow, that was because in every harem known to man, you're always gonna have the lolly character who doesn't have a choice or a
Yeah,
chance, I should say. Like she's just in the harem because she wants to be cute, right? Like they need a mascot, so they got the lolly character. They got like the childhood friend. But you always know who his main choices are. Like he's gonna either end up with her or the other girl who is her direct competitor, even though
yeah.
there are multiple girls in the harem. And with Shuffle, they're like, nah, they had the two main girls. It's like, how about we pick her standing in the corner, who
Yeah.
you had no clue he was gonna pick, and that was crazy, man. It was mind blowing, and
One of the best kind of plot twists there was.
exactly. They call it a subversion of expectation. Your expectation has completely been subverted, and you're like, "Oh crap!"
Yeah,
That,
not a
that's
lot of
awesome.
anime does that now.
But yeah, so that's why Shuffle. I've been meaning to want to rewatch it because I watched that
Definitely.
years ago, even before I was writing anime reviews. I've been writing anime reviews more than 10 years.
Nah,
I watched it before that, so it's been a long time, man. I want to rewatch that mess, man.
yeah, it been a long time for real. I love that show. I definitely feel like though if it came out today, it would probably have another, that author would
Mhm.
probably have a death threat just because somebody like, well, he didn't choose none of the girls and somebody random. But the thing is that some of these people forget this is real life, you know. At
Yeah,
the end
man.
of the day, like it's life, we all have a choice. You might have not chose the best girl. You know, oops, I said it. There you go. Yeah, you might have not chose the best girl for yourself.
Yeah, but I mean, but you're right. It is real life. The person that you're pursuing, let's say that let's say if you're dating and you're talking to multiple women, not cheating on anyone, but just you're
Talking, but
talking
you're
to
not dating
multiple.
to
You're playing
nobody.
the field. You know how it is. You get out there and you play the field and you see who's available. It's like, oh well, I'll talk to her, her, and her. And people may think like, oh, those two gel so well together, they're definitely gonna end up together. But then you probably end up being attracted to someone else that everybody else is like, what happened? You can't control your feelings.
You really
Like
can't.
when you fall in love with somebody or when you're attracted to somebody, sometimes there is just inexplicable and it just happens.
Yeah,
And
but
if I guess if you never had that experience, then like most of these outraged folks probably never had, then they wouldn't understand that.
yeah, they would not understand that.
But yeah, man. So I mean, it's some bull crap. So because of this controversy, they didn't the protagonist hero. What's his name? Hero, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
hero.
So he doesn't fall in love, at least in the beginning. I guess I've never watched it. I just know about the controversy. So he ends up with some other chick. Not the main girl, not the main pink haired. What was it? 02.
Yeah, 02.
So he wait one second. Sorry, one of my clients is messaging me. Anyway, um, so he does end up with her, and now we're sending death threats because your creation, a guy. This we got to remember that this isn't real. This is absolutely not real. All right,
Wait,
this is
are you
something
you
that this
saying
guy created in his head. The creator of this manga, which has been adapted into an anime, he created in his head. These are his characters, his story progressions, all that kind of stuff. None of it is real. This is what he meant for the characters to do. You can't send a death threat over something that isn't yours. These are his creations.
yeah? But wait, real quick though, you're saying that hero ended up with 02, but he didn't end up with Ichigo, right?
Well, all I know is that from the controversy side of it, I don't know
Uh,
what happens all the way at the end. I don't know
oh,
who he
okay.
ends up with, but what I do know is the controversy is that the protagonist does not like he ends up kissing the side chick, I guess, or
Oh
getting with
Lord,
the side chick and not getting with Zero Two. I don't know if he ends up with
he
Zero
did.
Two because,
He
like I
did.
said, I haven't seen it. But see, people they don't. The problem is people tend to get outraged before a story can finish and run its course.
Yeah.
And in Rising of the Shield Hero is a perfect example of that. People were pissed. People were just furious because the protagonist of Rising the Shield Hero, who is the Shield Hero, was accused of rape, which falls on the heels of the Vic Mignogna thing. He was accused of the same thing. Well, not rape, but sexual harassment.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least with in Vic's case. So people they take it too personally, and then they get angry and they want to boycott the show and all that kind of bull crap. But then I
And
was like, the whole time I just marathon the whole series, uh,
yeah.
uh, j- just uh, last week. In just a few days, I marathon all of Rising the Shield Hero. And when that happened, when this dude was accused of rape, and he started going down this path, this very dark path, where he even goes and like he gets a slave to add to his party and all that. So like he's just a really bad guy. And the whole time it's like, man, this is hard to watch. Like this guy, it's like he was a happy-go-lucky guy. He comes into this, into this world, and he is screwed over at every turn. Every single person basically is against him. He's getting shafted like every which way he goes. Everybody's against this guy. So his character development to turn into a somewhat I like to call him a chaotic good character where he's like he's good technically because he's a shield hero, but he's like making very evil decisions like getting slaves and he's mistreating her and all that kind of stuff, at least initially. But I was like, watch his character development, like in my head. This is only episode one. I said, watch his character development. Give him 3 or 4 episodes, and he's gonna flip back into being a good guy. But he has
Yeah.
to go through that journey. Like the reason why he's such a dick is because he's getting shafted by so many people. It's a cause and effect. If something happens, the effect of that has to come into play. So if you screw me over, then which is the cause, the effect is I'm going to try and screw you over back, maybe. And that's something that people just they didn't wait for the show to progress to even
Yeah.
get to that point because he does redeem himself.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Like on that show, like you with the whole false allegation thing. I don't think people like the fact that it even had to deal with something like that. I don't know why. Now I'm not saying that don't believe victims or anything like that, but there are some people who actually lie, and they
Hmm.
even been proven to say that they lied about it. If false accusation is there, I mean, so the anime went that route. Yes, I mean you might not like it because it don't fit the agenda of today's society, but at the same time, this is a story. This is a story that been before around before the whole Vic Mignogna case. Obviously, before it even was a manga. I mean, an anime. It was a manga first.
Hmm.
So people getting upset with that just means to tell me they never even read the source of it way before then. Because I remember hearing about it when it first was about to be an anime. It's like, oh yeah, my friends were talking about it. It was like, oh yeah, it was the guy who was falsely accused of rape, and he went down this path of being the shield hero and everything like that. Nothing of it. But as soon as the anime come out,
Yep.
now here come the outrage, outgoing.
Hmm.
And then here he goes. The character literally did a 360 because he seemed like a chill, laid back dude, not knowing what's going on in the world, and then they
Yep.
turn on him for no reason.
Yep. Well, I
And
mean, they had a reason. They were
well,
being
yeah,
dicks
yeah.
to him, but,
Yeah,
but yeah,
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 yeah. And then he went out, and then the only way he could level up was having somebody in his party,
exactly.
and nobody wanted to join him. It wasn't his fault. So then a shady black marketer came, and just so happened he had to buy a person or a little, I don't know what you
A
call her,
slave. He had to buy
like
a
a
slave,
slave.
a demon
Yeah,
human. Yeah,
yeah, a demi human or whatever they call it.
yeah,
Uh, and that was the only way he can get to level up to get stronger because the whole purpose was for him to fight off this wave of demons that's coming in. And if you ask me, he didn't do. Granted, like nobody really liked that part. I don't know why people don't understand. Like, sadly, slavery was part of the history too. Some people just don't like to even acknowledge that. I mean, it's like So you don't want them to acknowledge the fact that people get falsely accused for
Mm-hmm.
stuff, and then you
Yep.
don't like to acknowledge the fact that people there's slavery, and then there's still slavery till this day. It may not be as bad as what us African Americans went through back in the days, but there's still some type of form of slavery.
Yeah,
And
and you know what it is. People, they want their heroes to be squeaky clean. They
yeah,
want them to be the perfect ideal human. It's like this guy was completely flawed from, and but what's funny is that he did start as the ideal hero when
hmm
he first, because it's an isekai anime, so he's just transported to another world. But when he was in his world and his version of Japan, when he was first transported into the other world as the shield hero, he was the squeaky clean, ideal, upstanding type of person. But then, because he's human and he's flawed, and because he's getting shafted and accused of rape, even though I mean everybody hates that chick, man, the
yeah, oh
redheaded chick, that screwed him over.
yeah.
But anyway,
But
um,
the fact is, like, I don't understand why they were so mad at it. Like, you could even see in the anime that he didn't do anything.
well,
So,
they're mad because they can't separate reality from fantasy.
and that's the
And
thing.
they can't see that this, even though it touches on controversial real world topics like false allegations and slavery, it's still a story, and people can't separate that reality from the fantasy, and they also don't give the anime enough time or to develop, because I knew it the moment, because like I said, I watched it last week, the whole thing, just it's like 2 days I just blurred through all, what was it, 25 episodes. But anyway,
Yeah,
um the whole time when this was happening and I was watching him descend into a more and more selfish, evil prick type of a character. Yeah, I was like, he's gonna just give it a few episodes. He's gonna do a 360. I know it.
he
And
does.
and this is not me having read reviews and I didn't know what was gonna happen. I didn't spoil it for myself. I just knew that that's probably what was gonna happen. But I saved my own outrage. I don't get outraged, but I saved that those emotions and I waited for the story to progress. And when you look at it from a big picture perspective, from not just from episode to episode, but from episode 1 to episode 25, it's a
Yeah,
beautiful progression. It shows that he's a flawed character. He's a human. He's not perfect. He's not like Superman, who's just a god and he has the perfect, he's just perfect in every way and he's just good and wholesome. No, he's a selfish person. And there's a reason for that. They made him that way, but people don't want to see that and they don't care. They just want to get mad. They just want to be mad at something.
yep. And that's exactly what it is. They just want to be mad for for nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Another one, another controversy from way back in the day was the ending of Evangelion. Have you seen that? Like the final episode of the original Evangelion before they did the movies?
No, I haven't really seen it.
Well,
Even Galleon was always on my list of animes that I wanted to start the original one,
yeah.
but I kind of got
But basically, the way this anime ended is that it just goes into this cluster, just this crazy, just psychedelic acid trip of a last episode where just the world ends and and it's like, I'll say this. There's only two anime that have ever given me nightmares. The ending of School Days and
oh
the ending
man,
of Evangelion. The
ending of
original.
school days. That's
Yeah.
that. Lena up to now, I can't rewatch that series.
Yeah, man, people hate that anime. I think it's brilliant. That anime was so traumatic to me that it was the first anime I ever wrote a review on. That's how traumatic. I had to like start writing. And I was like, oh, maybe I should start writing anime reviews. But anyway, um, so the ending of School Days and the ending of Evangelion, it is so psychedelic and just disturbing on so many different levels. It is, and then at the end, it's like, did it all happen in his head? And people are freaking out. It's like, what do you mean did it all happen in his head? Get the fruit out of here with that. What do you mean? it all happened, So people started sending this man death threats, and they started just getting all pissed. I think this was the Japanese crowd this time around. But it's the same thing.
Yeah,
This is the way this man wanted to end it. Plus, I think that there were budget issues that led to that really messed up ending. But there was so much outrage that he had to go and redo the ending of the series by releasing two movies to retcon
yeah.
what happened at the end. So, but it's the same thing.
I think
It's-
people believe that they show enough outrage that that they can do that. And like, don't get me wrong, you could voice your opinion and so like, but you shouldn't death threat somebody if nobody know what's going on behind the scenes in the
yeah,
studio because Bleach ended so abruptly. I mean, I heard it's coming back, but
yeah,
that's
it is
all.
coming back. Yeah,
But I'm waiting on more on that. But
yeah,
like they can't help it. It's not them sometimes. Sometimes the studio want to go a different route. Sometimes it's just they're being rushed to finish the story that truly was never even close to being done in the first place. You
exactly.
never know. There's a lot of stuff that plays a factor to it that people seem to forget. They just
Well,
see,
I don't
huh?
even know if they forget. They just don't bother to do the research and realize there's budgets that plays a role. They're voice actors. You gotta pay these people. You gotta pay the animators. You gotta pay for all the crap, the building, the rent. I think it almost always comes down to budget. I'm sure there's more to it than that.
Yeah,
But but yeah, so I mean, there's just so much that goes into creating a show that can play a direct impact on where the show goes, whether it gets a second season or not. If you and I let's say we pirate all of our anime,
yeah,
now they don't have enough budget for season two. Now people get pissed. Well, you didn't realize that because you were pirating all your anime, they didn't get any money. They didn't get any revenue from the anime they created in the first place. Now they can't afford it, or they see that it's not profitable to go with season two. Like, what kind of this business decision? What kind of business person are you if you create something, you realize it doesn't make you any money? Why would you continue creating that thing? You're
exactly.
gonna move on to the next project. That's just how it goes.
Yeah, it's exactly how it goes, and it's like you say, like pirating stuff. You can't be mad for the budget if we pirating stuff and they don't have money. I mean, I also seen speaking of like pirating, I heard that Japan's now coming is trying to tackle America for the illegal scans and stuff like
Good.
that, which we
Yeah.
already knew. I already knew it was coming soon. I'm
Yeah.
willing.
Good.
So it was one of those. It was bound to happen, especially as the popularity got up in height. It was bound to happen. Now, if anime was like how it was back then, I don't think it would have ever got caught. But now that the popularity is getting bigger and the fandom is definitely getting bigger, people are going to want to see more of it. You know,
Well, let me ask you a question. When did you start your anime journey? Were you like in high school, middle school?
elementary.
Oh man, you did
I
all the
would
way back
say
in the day. All right.
it was more of like fourth and fifth grade year. The first
Yeah.
time, because honestly, a lot of people don't start in element younger. If you was around the age of Pokemon, you didn't know it was anime.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
exactly. I didn't think
like,
Pokemon was anime for a
yeah,
long time. I was like, no, that's just a cartoon.
yeah. Pokemon is an anime. Sonic X is not even a cartoon if you think about the art style of it all.
Nah.
That's definitely an anime. Mega Man Anti Warrior. My
Yeah.
Beyblade was definitely one of the
Oh, yeah.
biggest
Oh, you
driving
getting all the old
factors.
school ones.
Yeah, you know how much I love Beyblade to this day, the old school one. I don't. It could be the most cheesiest thing, but for some reason I hold that in a high pedestal. Don't know why, but it's just bring back
But
so many
hey, man,
memories.
ain't nothing wrong with that. But let me tell you, this is the reason why I asked. Because you remember back in the day, because I started like middle school. I don't remember if it was elementary, probably, but definitely middle school. Remember way back in the day when we were in school
Hmm.
and we were nerds. We were anime nerds. It wasn't cool to enjoy anime and watch
Oh
anime.
yeah, definitely not.
Man, I was part of the Yu-Gi-Oh club in my high school, and we would meet in the library. And then
Yeah,
every time one of my classmates, because like you're self conscious back then. Well, one of my classmates that I hung out with the other group, like I had my nerd group, then I had the other group I hang out with, and then when those dudes were walking, one of the other group members walking, I would duck my head. It's like, no, I'm not in here playing Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't know what you're talking about, man.
Yeah.
I should have had, I look back, so man, show more pride. But back then I was self conscious and all that kind of bull crap. But back then you were deemed a nerd, and it wasn't something cool. But nowadays, I imagine, and on in middle school and high school and all that stuff, the anime is probably one of the cooler things that you could be into.
Oh yeah. If you don't like anime and you like regular cartoon now, I think it's like one of those type of things like who are you?
Yeah,
and stuff. Like I now that I think about it, I'm looking at these kids and it started piquing interest around the time I was getting closer to graduating, but like how I look at it now and where how far it came, I like, dang, I really wish it was like that because now me and my friends from high school who love anime too, but they were just like how you say you was like kind of ashamed and you didn't
yeah,
want to really get bullied or anything like that
yeah, exactly.
because you don't want to be judged and you're just trying to fit in. And that's the different of the time and culture. We were like, oh no, I don't, I don't watch anime. Shoot,
Yeah,
I was even afraid to tell my friends I had still watched Power Rangers up until middle school.
exactly.
So I think the last one was Power Rangers Mystic Force was the last one I ever
Man, I
stopped
stopped
watching.
watching after they turned into samurais, man.
Look, yeah, Samurai. Oh no, I was done after that. After Mystic Force, I like okay, I can't get into the other ones.
I don't remember what all came after. I just remember Tommy was the best Power Ranger because he was the white and the Green Ranger.
Oh
That's
man, he was in that nice white. Hey, everybody loved the Green Rangers, but for me, I really, really love the White Ranger just because he had his own Megazord. Because he technically had the dragon, but the dragon had to combine. But the Liger, oh man, that's
nah,
when I
man. It's all about the Red Ranger and his Tyrannosaurus Rex, man.
hey look, I was a big fan of the Red Ranger, but then when Tommy came in, I'm like, bro, that's Tommy. Tommy took on the whole team and got beat up. Which I never understand Power Ranger logic, like how the Ranger be evil and can beat up the whole team, but now he can't fight one enemy by himself.
It's like
Yeah,
you know what? It's kind of like being the Sith Lord. We're not even talking about anime anymore, but whatever,
yeah, I
man.
know.
It's like being a Sith Lord and being a Jedi, where if you're Sith Lord, you can tap into the full power of the Force. You can use
Yeah,
Force lightning. I was like, why can't Jedi use Force lightning, man? That would be awesome.
it's
And like
like
they'll Force choke people and stuff. It's like Jedi don't do that. So they
they,
kind of hold themselves back. And so yeah, it's kind of like logic when you're good, you tend to
yeah,
be weaker because you're holding yourself back because you don't want to destroy your opponents. You want to arrest them or bring them to justice, whatever. But then you got people like Batman, who's like an anti-hero, or Wolverine, and they'll do whatever it takes. So you do get you get cool anti-heroes from time to time who break the mold. It's like, yeah, I'm good, but I'm gonna do what I need to do. It's kind of like with Rising of the Shield Hero.
mhm.
Um, man, I can't even think of his name, but the protagonist. He uses that curse shield that consumes his mind and makes him go insane. It just makes him go crazy, and it's like killing him and makes him evil and all that kind of stuff. But he's like, I
Yeah,
got to rely on this power, or we're all gonna die. I got to do what I got to do to win. And so it just shows that they're human. And I guess if you don't understand story structure, or even if you don't give a crap about story structure, but you're just looking for something to be mad about. That's all it is. People are just looking for something to be pissed about. That's why one day we're pissed at Robert Downey Jr. from way 12 years ago, whatever. That's why we're pissed about Domino's, which happened way, 8 years ago. That's why we're mad about Rising the Shield Hero. That's why we're mad about Evangelion. We just gotta be pissed about something.
yep, we got to.
We gotta be angry. Just the only time I'll tell you this: the only time I'm angry is when I'm doing my podcast, what grinds my gears, where I'm screaming at my
Hey,
microphone.
look, your podcast be making me laugh at you with grandma. I like, is he legitly mad?
It's like I've written so many. Uh, like I'm not like sitting there angry, but I am yelling into my mic the whole time. And then when I'm talking about, so yeah, man, this does piss me off, but I'm not gonna sit here and send out a death threat. See, look, man, there ain't nothing wrong with being angry about something or being passionate about something or being sad or any sort of emotion you want to have. Is when you start acting in an irrational way, um, and start doing things that don't make any sense, like sending death threats and all
Yeah,
that kind of stuff. I almost went into what's going on in the country right now. People burning stuff down and stuff, but we ain't gonna go there. We ain't going there.
yeah,
But anyway,
yeah.
it's when
Yeah,
you're
that'd be
when
a
you're
difference.
emotional and not logical, and that's what we see, man. And I think that if I had to put a percentage on it, I say about 15% of every community is probably emotional. And the remaining 85% are logical people who understand that this is stupid, the outrage and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it is. It's just the outrage culture. I think what it is, and I'm starting to believe that people are feeding into what the minority are thinking on
Yeah.
Twitter
Oh,
than what majority of everybody else is thinking. The minority don't represent everything. Think about it. Everybody's finding something to complain about, something to cancel about. They want to cancel a ride on Disney, and now Disney's changing up the whole way of how they're doing it, and
wait,
they
wait,
want
what?
to
Wait, what?
so you know what is that one? This is like the Splash Town. I forgot what it was. It's one of those rides, Splash Hill or
Oh,
something like that
Splash
one.
Mountain. I did
Yeah,
read
yeah,
about that, but I didn't really do a deep dive. What was going on with that?
yeah. So apparently, I guess because the movie back then, because it was based on a movie that Disney seemed to not want to release on DVD because Disney trying to act like they are perfect or whatever. Like they are this just company that don't step or offend people.
Mhm.
But back then, during that time, that movie came out like in the 50s, 60s. And like I say, time was different then. And you know how they had like characters that can be perceived as a racist now.
Oh,
Like you know how like Dumbo had what, Jim Crow?
oh yeah, yeah. That
Yeah,
was like overtly racist. That wasn't even
yeah.
kind of like I'm being subtly racist. That was like outright racist.
Yeah, it's one of those, and then everything. Certain like characters have certain features of a certain particular race,
Yeah.
and talks like that. And so but like I said, and now people are offended because the song and characters and all that is
Uh,
portrayed to that. I'm like, I mean, I understand. At the same time, it's like it's been like this for years now because we at so-called being this progressive nature that we guys are at now, that now something wants to be done with it, and now Disney want to do diversity and stuff like that. I'm like this has been like this for years now, and if it was a problem back then it should have been addressed right there because like I say, people been around for many years. Black people, Asian people, Hispanics, anybody else I missed, they've been around for many years. It should, if they wanted to been addressed it, they should have been addressed it initial time when times started getting changed. It shouldn't have got to this point. That's what I'm pretty much
yeah,
saying.
and you know what? It's kind of like what there's people in the UK. They're trying to drag down um, statues of Winston Churchill, and in America we're dragging down statues of Confederate soldiers and all that because they're symbols of racism, and I don't know what's going on with the Churchill stuff. But anyway,
Yeah,
um, I was like, man, this is part of history. Just because you bury the history, just because you drag it down, just because you burn it and all that, it doesn't make the history go away. You can learn from it. Now, if there was a proper way of, I don't know, I guess that's more of a controversial topic because you don't want to just sit there and you go out and you see the symbol of racism, at least in your eyes,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
in every day in memorialized in statue form. So I guess that argument can go either way, but at the same time, you can't just bury history. It happened,
yeah.
just
And
yeah,
that's the thing. I'm happy for the change, but at the same time, it's like they're trying to bury history. Nah, like this needs to be put up in front. They need to know how the world really was back then and how it is now. You can't acknowledge your past and then expect to like just or like get rid of your past and just embrace the future. These people, because what's going to happen is if they don't know nothing about the past, history have a tendency to repeat itself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if they don't acknowledge it now and be like, okay, yeah, this was what we did back then, this was wrong, and this is how we're moving forward. Years from now, after we're dead and gone from this earth, who can say these kids will never know about what happened back then and think, okay, well, let's just try this again.
Yeah, exactly. So, maybe we should try and go and enslave this group of people, or maybe we should try and go wage war in this capacity, or or whatever,
Yeah,
whatever. Insert controversial subject here, whatever that may be. And yeah, man, if you bury history, it's just gonna repeat itself. That's just how it goes.
exactly.
But anyway, man, that is. But so I guess I have one more question for you.
Yeah.
And I think I know what the answer is. Do you believe that outrage culture belongs in the anime community?
No, definitely not. I don't think so. Like everybody's entitled to their opinion, but for me, if you I don't believe you need to try to cancel anybody just because you don't agree on something or anything like that. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all human beings. We're all entitled to our own opinion. Let that person have their opinion. You don't have to agree with everything that person said or do or even, act. But at the same time, it's like, okay, if you don't agree with something, don't try to cancel it just because you don't agree with it. There's other people who actually might enjoy it or might actually see this anime helping them go through something in life. Because you never know what somebody's dealing with at that point in time. And I like to believe certain things help certain people, even if it's a real life person or a anime that is addressing a problem that somebody else been through,
Mhm.
and they see that character as themselves. You never know, and just because you don't agree with it doesn't mean you have the right to just go ahead and tell somebody no, this not it. And if you don't see it my way, then you're the problem and not the solution. And so,
Well, man, that's well said. I couldn't have said it better myself. I mean, it's I can't really add more to that. It's there's no reason to shut. At least let people talk. That's
yeah,
what it is. But a lot of these folks, they want just their opinion or no opinion at all. You gotta let them talk. At least, even if they're on the
yeah,
complete other side of whatever your opinion is, they're on the opposite end of it, or they're exact opposition of what you do. The only time you should ever stop someone from talking is if whatever they have to say would lead to real world uh, ramifications that are negative, like
yeah.
screaming fire in a movie theater. That can cause a stampede. People get trampled to death. So
Okay, but
so
you ain't gotta worry about me.
but the only time you should ever stop someone from saying anything is if the real world ramifications can actually have a very very negative consequence. But otherwise, just let people express what they gotta say.
Exactly. That's
But
pretty
anyway,
much it.
what were you saying?
I know. I said I agree. I agree with you more. Let people have a voice of opinion, and so unless it's something like blatant, like yo, I can't believe he said that. Especially like today's world, I feel like trying to dig something up to be outraged is doing too much. You got too much time in your hand.
Yes.
If you could do that, you need to better yourself. Get back to school, do something, find a new hobby, like digging up something back in the early 2000s to when times were different and
Oh
trying to
man.
complain about it now, that just showed that clearly you had too much time in your hand, or maybe you just might be just a little soft skinned,
Oh,
just a little bit.
but think about this, man. With COVID-19, that's all we got.
Oh yeah, that's true. It is
Well,
because of COVID,
I mean,
huh?
look, man. If I'm not trying to target any of your audience or my audience, but if you're younger, let's say you're in your teens or early 20s with COVID-19, therefore you're not even going to college yet, or you're doing it from home. You probably don't have a job because most of the people been laid off, or people are barely getting back to work. So I think we got nothing but time on our hands right now for a lot of people, anyway. But It's how we use that time. And anyway, man, I appreciate you coming on the podcast, and I'm happy. See, right now, we're using this new innovative technology that Anime
Yep.
Nerd pointed out to me that allows him to record on his end and record on my end, and hopefully it comes out crystal clear. I
Oh,
think
it's
it will.
gonna come out crystal clear because first of all, shout out to for your reference for even allowing me to, because the first time I had to use this system was because of them,
Yeah.
and they used it. And I was like, "Yo, you mean I could tell me I could use my mic, record, and it could separate the audio and then combine it? It's like all in one, and it's a real. It's one of those hidden gems that I'm glad that you start to know people and get it out there and stuff.
Yeah, this is dope, man. I'm glad. I'm gonna start using this. And anytime we do collaboration, this is the way we're gonna do it, man.
It got to be. This nothing but a way to do this. Like, shoot.
Hey, man, but you want to give them your how they can reach you and all that stuff?
All right, so you guys can always follow me on anime on Twitter or Instagram at Anime Nerd 92. Just the 9 and the 2. Just put that on there, not 1992. And also definitely be on the lookout. I've been trying to stream a lot more on Twitch, so you can follow me at Platinum Silence on
Okay,
there, all in one. And also I am now starting to working on dropping my podcasts even on YouTube just to build up some more and have more features. It's going to be like voiceover for right now until I get the time to actually do actual video podcasts. But for those of you guys who prefer listening to podcasts on YouTube than on actual, podcast site, it's going to be up on there and everything like that.
cool, man. All right, you guys know where you can follow me: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at wasawesome.com. Thank you, my man, for coming on. It is always a pleasure, an immense.
Hey, we always have a good time whenever we do this, man.
Oh man, we're gonna have more collaborations coming up,
Oh
and
yeah.
yeah, thank you again, man.
No problem, man.
All right, people, do me a favor. Just do me one favor. Stay with Sawson, people. Stay with Sawson.
All right, y'all. Take it easy.
Peace.
Peace. And hold on real quick.